Okay, welcome, Do Better community. I'm glad that you guys are able to make it to today's kind of talk with nutrition. Today I have Tarah. She's our dietitian that's going to be going over some topics that we had questions about. Today we're just going to go over one because it has a lot of depth that we're going to go into. But before I jump into that question, I want Tarah to introduce herself. So go ahead, Tarah.
Hey guys, I'm Tarah Valenti. I'm a registered dietitian. I do a lot of nutrition coaching with Custom Fit, primarily on body composition and overall health and gut issues and all kinds of things like that. So I'm excited to be here with you guys today.
I love it. Cool. And again, thank you so much for your time today. But let's just jump right into the question here. So I'm going to go ahead and read it out. So recently, they've read that there is a new research indicating that sugar is worse than we thought. Fat cholesterol is typically attributed to heart disease and other amenities. But there's new research that shows that sugar has more of an impact than previously thought. Maybe the nutritionist can dive into the side effects of sugar and how much sugar is actually a healthy amount. So yeah, go ahead and jump in to where you want to get started with that, Tarah.
Cool. So I'll tackle the amount part first. And this is something that, like, if you're doing nutrition tracking on an app or something like that, that can be really helpful in determining exactly how much sugar you're getting per day. Or if you just want to look at food labels and kind of keep a general idea, that can be helpful as well. But there's really two different ways that we recommend you target sugar. And specifically, we're talking about added sugars here. So just for perspective, all carbohydrates are sugars. Added sugars are the ones that we really want to watch out for. So on a food label, if you're a female, you want to be aiming for 24 grams a day. If you're a male, you want to be aiming for 36 grams a day or less, right? So that's kind of like the ceiling. Like if you're a female, 24 grams or less. If you're a male, 36 grams or less.
Cool. Would you mind be able to give? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, so that's what I was going to jump into. Go ahead.
Exactly. So for perspective, that's about 100 calories a day for women, and that's like 6 teaspoons of a sweetener. So table sugar, for example. For men, it's about 150 calories a day, and that would be like 9 teaspoons.
Interesting. Yeah, that's not a lot compared to the average diet. That's like nothing.
Yeah. And believe it or not, like that's generally considered to be like the more conservative recommendation. The other recommendation is actually from the Dietary Guidelines for Americans, and they just say 10% of your total calories. So you have to do a little bit of math for that one, but if you're doing a 2,000 calorie a day diet, which is kind of like the general average, that's about 200 calories a day or 50 grams of sugar daily. So that's what you're targeting with that.
Interesting. And then what about those things that say 0 grams of sugar? Is that something that just doesn't have the sugar that it's labeling as, like marketing wise, or is there added sugar in there?
So no added sugar, definitely would be what that means. Still probably going to have carbs. So again, checking the label would be a good starting point. Usually those products have added like artificial sweeteners. Not all the time. Like sometimes I've seen actually like cuties like mandarin oranges advertised as having 0 sugar. So, which obviously like those are very rich in natural carbohydrates, but they're not going to be adding sugar to a mandarin orange, right?
Totally. That's a good example.
Yeah. So again, like checking the labels is going to be your friend here, looking for added artificial sweeteners, if that's something that you care about, if you're trying to or not trying to consume those. But usually that's what that means.
Cool. And then what about where the body has an excess amount? Like if we're having too much, what does that mean for us?
Yeah. So really, like if you just have too much sugar one time, like you just really wanted a donut or whatever it is, and you go to town, your body can handle that. You might feel kind of crappy afterwards because you're going to get a blood sugar spike. And so in the short term, that's pretty much what happens with the body. You get a peak in your blood sugar, you might feel energized or like great for a little bit. You definitely get those positive feelings from consuming a lot of sugar, and then you crash and you usually feel pretty low energy. For some people, this reaction is a little bit more extreme than others. It just depends on your own biochemistry. But, you know, one time, it's not really that big of a deal. If you're doing it regularly, that's where we run into more actual physiological problems.
Got you.
Yeah. So specifically like inflammation, blood sugar dysregulation. So if you are having excessive amounts of very sugary products consistently, that can actually mess with your body's ability to handle loads of sugar. And it's also empty calories. So
yeah,
you're at risk for putting on excess body fat and all of the problems that come with that.
Okay. And then I know that we didn't talked about this, but what would you say is like a good like indulgence per week for sugar? If they were gonna do it, like, come on, let's face it, we all love a donut every now and then. So how many times do you think a week we could kind of indulge with some sugar that we're not excessive, but we're still hitting our happy medium where we're still getting the stuff that we want?
Yeah. I feel like there's no like single approach to this. My like personally, what I like to do, because I love sweets too, is kind of sprinkle them in throughout the week, but don't go crazy. You know, like a piece of dark chocolate at night or something like that is just the right amount. It's not going to be a catastrophic surge in my blood sugar, but it kind of scratches that itch, you know. If you're going to have something a little bit more indulgent, you know, like a bowl of ice cream, for example, that's probably more of like a 1 or 2 times a week indulgence. I'd lean in the 1 time a week direction with that. But it just depends on kind of what your priorities are. You know, like, would you prefer to do a little bit here and there, or kind of just have like one big splurge day? When it comes to your actual blood sugar and what happens in the body, you're going to feel a lot better if you space it out more. You know, if it's your birthday and you want the cake, eat the cake, but keep in mind, you might not feel great afterwards.
Yeah, especially if you don't have sugar often, right? It's that one time that you hit it randomly and you're like, whoa, this is like hitting me hard. So yeah, that makes total sense. All right, cool. Any last says that you want to say to the community?
Well, one thing actually, so I find this to be really fascinating, but with sugar and salt specifically, actually, your body tends to adjust to how much you're consuming. So the more sugar that you consume, the more frequently you're exposed to it, the less sensitive you are to it. But it also goes in the other direction. So if you start to gradually reduce your intake of sugar, your body becomes more sensitive to it. So if you are that person that really never eats sweets and then suddenly wants to have a piece of cake, you might find that it's actually sickeningly sweet. Like you don't enjoy it as much. And that's kind of the ideal scenario. I've done this myself, and like with soda, for example, I can't drink it. Like it's so sweet, it grosses me out. And so with that, like there's kind of like a light at the end of the tunnel, I would say. If you're a person who just really craves sweets all the time, you eat a ton of sugar, you feel like you can't stop this habit. If you taper down eventually, you're not going to need as much to get the same enjoyment out of it, if that makes any sense.
No, yeah, that makes a great point. Love the last comment there. Cool. Well, guys, hopefully we'll be doing this more often. Maybe other nutritionists will be jumping in on the custom fit team. So if you guys have comments, or if you have other questions that you maybe want to add so that the nutrition can kind of go over it, go ahead, click in the comment section, send all those comments away, or you can message me, email me, however you want to do it. So that way we can get the ball rolling with more nutrition questions. But again, thank you so much, Tarah, for your time. I really appreciate all the amazing insight that you've been able to give to our community and making sure that we're all on the right track with our goals through the journey of our 2023. But yeah, thanks again so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.